up on Arirang News. South Korea unveils key economic policies. They involve tax benefits for companies that increase shareholder returns and enhance their corporate value, as well as financial packages to support vulnerable groups. Police are expediting the investigation over what caused a tragic car accident in central Seoul on Monday night. In the meantime, another injury has been confirmed. North Korean leader Jong-un visits a munitions factory after a key workers' party meeting. Some watchers believe this is a move to bolster ties with Russia even more through arms transfers. Welcome to our 9 p.m. edition of Arirang News. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. We start with the details of Korea's economic blueprint for the second half of this year amid pledges to prioritize the livelihoods of ordinary people. Our business correspondent Lee Soo-jin reports.
The South Korean government plans in the second half of the year to focus on improving the lives of vulnerable groups as it aims to continue its economic growth momentum.
이렇게 성장률을 비롯한 거시 지표는 눈에 띄게 개선되고 있습니다만 아직 그 온기가 민생 경제의 활력으로 이어지지 않아 안타까운 마음이 있습니다. 효과가 나타나는 시차를 줄이면서 민생의 구조적 근본적 문제를 해결해 나가야 합니다.
The Finance Ministry on Wednesday announced its economic policy direction for the latter half of the year, where it revised its economic growth projection from 2.2% to 2.6% for 2024. This upward revision was mostly due to a strong growth forecast for exports thanks to increased demand for AI as well as semiconductors. An inflation rate for this year is expected to ease to 2.6%. This comes as data from Statistics Korea on Tuesday showed that the Consumer Price Index, a key gauge of inflation, rose by 2.4% in June compared to the same month the year before. This is the lowest figure seen in 11 months, inching closer to the target inflation of 2%. But the government, which typically bases the direction of its economic policies on these projections, said that while the newly revised projections are promising, vulnerable groups are yet to feel that the economy is getting better.
But because the recovery speed varies across sectors due to high inflation and interest rates, small business owners still feel that the economy is struggling.
To help small business owners, the government will spend 25 trillion won, or nearly $18 billion to provide financial support, business growth and recovery opportunities, as well as a one-stop platform that allows them to more easily access necessary information. According to one expert, the most helpful policy is likely to be the measures that are targeted towards easing the burden of high interest rates.
I think the most effective way is postponing interest rate payment to banks. In terms of the moral hazard problem, it is very difficult to decrease size of the money that borrowed from the banks. But instead, there is small room for banks and for medium and small-sized companies to delay their interest rate payment.
The government will also help small business owners expand digitally to accelerate their growth and provide incentives for those who wish to start new businesses. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
Staying on the key economic policies unveiled today. To boost long-term growth, the Finance Ministry reveals a plan to provide tax incentives to companies that enhance their corporate value and expand shareholder returns. Choi Min-jung with the details.
South Korea has unveiled measures to foster the growth of new industries. The Finance Ministry revealed a roadmap on Wednesday that aims to incentivize companies that enhance their corporate value and increase shareholder returns. This will be done by providing a range of tax incentives and benefits. First, the government plans to reduce corporate taxes by 5% for companies that increase shareholder returns exceeding 5% over the span of 3 years. Companies can do this by increasing dividends or canceling treasury stocks. This applies to all companies regardless of size. The government will also lower income tax rates for the shareholders of companies that have high corporate value. Accordingly, if the dividend income is 12 million won, the tax burden will be reduced by 100,000 won. If the dividend income is 22 million won, the tax burden will be reduced by 200,000 won. The government is implementing the new regulations temporarily for 3 years, but they will first need to be passed by the National Assembly. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, South Korea's foreign exchange reserves shrank in June for the third month in a row. According to the Bank of Korea on Wednesday, the reserve stood at over $412 billion at the end of June, down over $600 million on month. The drop is being linked to the repayment of foreign exchange stabilization bonds and the BOK's foreign currency swap with the country's pension fund. As of the end of May, South Korea is the world's 9th largest holder of foreign reserves. Hyundai Motor set a new company sales record in the United States in the first half of this year. The company on Wednesday said that it sold a total of more than 431,000 vehicles during the first 6 months, including its luxury brand Genesis. This is a 1.3% increase on year. Furthermore, both Hyundai Motor and its sister company Kia set new highs in the number of eco-friendly vehicles sold for any half-year period. They sold more than 155,700 electric and hybrid models in the U.S., which is a 17% increase on year. Korean instant noodles, or ramyeon, are becoming more popular around the world through viral marketing on social media and the launch of new products. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs announced on Wednesday that exports of Korean instant noodles came to almost $600 million in the first half of the year. It's around a 32% increase compared to the same period last year. The biggest overseas markets are China and the United States, surpassing $100 million each in exports last month. A new agricultural technology, water-cooled air conditioning and heating system, is in the limelight. The technology allows the growing and harvesting of strawberries even in midsummer and radically lowers greenhouse operational costs. Cha Yoon-kyung has the story.
This is a strawberry farm in Pyeongtaek, Gyeonggi-do Province. Farmers usually finish harvesting strawberries at the end of May. However, a strawberry harvest is in full swing here in June. The secret is a water-cooled air conditioning and heating system, which makes it possible to extend the harvest season for strawberries by using awning screens and sprinklers after setting up a water-cooled air conditioning and heating system.
The heat island effect happens in the house. Hot air cannot move to where cold air collects, but the cold air rises as it gets hotter.
Another benefit is that farmers can save on the huge costs of using standard air conditioning and heating. This new system utilizes underground water, which is always around 15 degrees Celsius. Therefore, this new technology is much cheaper than the existing one, which uses air or geothermal heat as a heat source.
Underground water is efficient with its year-round temperature, making huge amount of deviation both in summer and in winter. But temperature goes up to 35 degrees in summer. It makes 20 degrees of deviation.
According to the research of Korea Agriculture Technology Promotion Agency, the savings on costs are between 70% to 90% compared to the standard system. Harvesting strawberries until July using the water-cooled air conditioning system is now possible. Farmers can set up the water-cooled air conditioning facility as long as they can drill for underground water.
The biggest problem for farmers in Korea is the high cost of air conditioning and heating in their greenhouses. We look for companies that have the technology and products which can cut costs dramatically and support them.
The water-cooled air conditioning and heating system was developed 4 years ago, and about 600 have been set up around 70 cities and counties nationwide. The number of farms using the system is expected to rise in the future because of the dramatic cost saving. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
Police investigation is picking up speed to see what caused the deadly car accident on Monday night in central Seoul. In the meantime, police confirmed another injured individual. Choi Soo-young with the details.
The police have confirmed that another person was injured in Monday's tragic car accident in central Seoul, bringing the total to 7 injured as well as the 9 people who were killed. Investigators continue to dig into the cause of the accident, with the police stating they had found skid marks where the car stopped. Also, analysis from the National Forensic Service are looking into the vehicle, footage from nearby CCTV cameras and the car's dashcam, as well as statements from witnesses. It has been reported that the van data recorder installed in the vehicle shows that the driver pressed the accelerator pedal hard just before the accident. The driver, who has more than 40 years of experience as a city bus driver, is blaming sudden unintended acceleration. The police took the driver in on charges of accidental homicide and will question him later due to injuries he himself suffered in the crash. Moreover, the police stated that the driver was negative in alcohol and all quick drug tests. They added that they are considering all possibilities, including a mistake or driver error. The car, driven by the 68-year-old man, exited the Chosun Hotel and drove in the wrong direction in a one-way street, colliding with 2 vehicles before plowing into a group of pedestrians waiting at the crosswalk. The accident occurred near Seoul City Hall, resulting in the death of 2 City Hall employees who were returning to work after dinner. 4 colleagues from a nearby bank were also killed in the accident. It was reported they were celebrating one of them having been promoted on the day. Citizens visited the scene to pay their condolences to the victims. Police have acknowledged the severity of the incident and have requested the National Forensic Service to complete their investigation as soon as possible. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, across the border, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un visited a munitions factory shortly after wrapping up a key Workers' Party meeting. Our North Korean affairs correspondent Kim Jong-sil explains what the visit could entail.
After wrapping up a key political meeting, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Tuesday visited a munitions factory and other manufacturing sites along with senior officials of the party's leadership. North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency reported on Wednesday that Kim visited the National Defense Industrial Enterprise and observed production lines there. The enterprise is known to produce munitions including 240mm shells for multiple launch rocket systems. Kim's visit to the weapons facility could be in line with his emphasis not only on enhancing the regime's self-defense capabilities, but also to take advantage of Russia's war with Ukraine, as Pyongyang and Moscow have been bolstering ties through arms transfers. The visit also came shortly after the 4-day meeting of the Workers' Party Central Committee, which started on Friday. There, Kim emphasized the North's accomplishments in the first half of the year, stating that the economy was in a clear upturn. An official at South Korea's Ministry of Unification said on Tuesday that what is striking from this meeting is that there was no mention of diplomatic achievements or messages to South Korea and the U.S.
It's possible the North was aware that it could be subjected to international condemnation if it puts too much emphasis on its achievements in defense and diplomacy. I think Kim's intention of only stressing economic agendas is to strengthen the regime by bringing up sectors directly linked to people's livelihoods.
The Unification Ministry official also said the regime may hold a standing committee ahead of the Supreme People's Assembly and discuss constitutional amendments.
It's highly possible that North Korea would strike out the phrase in its Constitution Article 9 that says the North would strive to reunify the country on the principle of independence, peaceful reunification, and great national unity.
The Unification Ministry official said the government will keep a close eye on what direction the regime is taking. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
The main opposition Democratic Party today tabled a special investigation bill on the death of a Marine who died while undertaking rescue operations during last year's floods. During a plenary meeting on Wednesday, National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik pushed ahead with the DP's request, saying it is time for the National Assembly to make a decision for the bereaved family. This prompted the ruling People Power Party to launch a filibuster in protest. The DP is widely expected to pass the bill alone on Thursday, but President Yoon Suk-yeol is likely to exercise his veto power, as he did during the previous National Assembly. The special bill calls for a special probe into allegations that the presidential office and the defense ministry inappropriately interfered in the investigation of the Marine's death. Over in the U.S., a Texas congressman has become the first lawmaker within the Democratic Party to openly call on President Biden to surrender his bid for re-election following the debate fallout. Lee Seung-jae has more.
For the first time, a House Democrat has publicly called for U.S. President Joe Biden to step down as the party's candidate for the upcoming November presidential election. According to Democrat House Representative Lloyd Doggett of Texas on Tuesday, Biden should make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw, citing the president's poor performance during last week's televised debate with former President Donald Trump. However, Doggett stressed that his remarks do not in any way diminish his respect for Biden's achievements, adding that the incumbent president has always prioritized his country, unlike his opponent. While a number of Democrats have voiced concerns for Biden's bid for a second term behind closed doors, Doggett is the first to openly express his concerns and opposition. Responding to these concerns, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said Tuesday that the top office respects the opinions and thoughts of concerned party members. Amid rumors that Biden could potentially be replaced, a survey was conducted by CNN on 1,274 people from June 28th to 30th, shortly after the presidential debate. The survey asked participants who would win in a hypothetical matchup if Biden was to drop out of the race. Most hypothetical Democrat presidential candidates had less support than Trump, including Vice President Kamala Harris and California Governor Gavin Newsom. However, when asked who would win in the November presidential election between former First Lady Michelle Obama and Trump, 50% of respondents chose the former First Lady, compared to Trump, who had 39% support. Meanwhile, in the same survey, 49% said they would vote for Trump, compared to 43% who showed support for Biden. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
A shocking crowd disaster in India at a religious event leads to more than 100 losses of lives, mostly women and children. Park Gun-woo covers the tragic event.
A crowd crush at a Hindu religious gathering in India killed more than 100 and injured scores more, according to local police and administration officials on Tuesday local time. Most of the victims of the crush in India's northern state of Uttar Pradesh are said to be women and children.
I came to attend the event with 8 other people, but no one survived. I do not know there was a sudden commotion. I did not even realize what happened.
Though the cause of the incident is yet unclear, local news reports citing authorities said heat and suffocation in a makeshift tent at the site could have been a factor. Local police also pointed to overcrowding as a possible factor, as there were around 15,000 people at the site, which was 3 times more than the host had originally permitted. Police Inspector General Shalabh Mathur said a high-level inquiry has been launched to investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident. Also on Tuesday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his condolences for the victims.
I express my condolences to the families of those who lost their lives in the tragic incident. I wish a speedy recovery to all the injured. The administration, under the supervision of the state government, is carrying out rescue and relief operations. Senior officials of the central government are in continuous communication with the state government of Uttar Pradesh.
This was not the first such incident to happen in India, as crowd crushes at religious events in 2011 and 2013 led to over 100 deaths. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
On the cultural front, the Korea Heritage Service says that Goryeo in Gyeongsangbuk-do province has been designated as an ancient city. Goryeo is an area with key historical links to the Kaya Confederacy. And since ancient cities hold historical significance when it comes to politics and culture, once designated, they are expected to help bring improvements to the local area. Goryeo will become the country's 5th official ancient city along with Gyeongju, Buyeol, Gongju, and Iksan. It was also declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site last year. Forests in the middle of the city, also called urban forests, are home to many animals and even endangered species. But these rare species are often overlooked because there is a lack of protective measures or management at these city forests. Hyun-jin has the story.
In this small forest surrounded by houses and apartments in the city center of Gangneung in Gangwon-do Province, the endangered flying squirrel has recently been spotted. The flying squirrel is also designated a natural monument in South Korea. And in May, another vulnerable species, the fairy pita, was spotted in a small forest near a school area in Ulsan City. The colorful fairy pita is a summer migratory bird that is hardly ever seen in the city. But these small city forests have become shelters for wild animals that have lost their homes to urban development. Now, there's an environmental organization, a cooperative, where its members conduct ecological research by searching for traces of wildlife, such as footprints and excretion. They have also taken the role of raising awareness of the importance of such urban forests in the ongoing global climate crisis.
The climate crisis is driving more endangered animals to extinction, so humans need to think about what we can do in such a situation.
But the reality is that not even a basic ecological survey, in terms of the numbers and animal species, is being conducted in most urban forests.
When mating is carried out in a small population for a long time, inbreeding can occur, which greatly reduces genetic diversity.
There are roughly 2,600 urban forests across the country. More people are raising their voices for protection measures and ecological surveys at these forests in order for safe coexistence of wildlife and humans. 이은진, Arirang News.
After the rain, daytime heat became severe in the southern parts of the country. The daytime temperature exceeded 30 degrees Celsius, with a heatwave warning issued in the south. From tomorrow night, it will rain all over the country again. As for the amount of rain, the Chungcheong-do provinces will see the highest level. Heavy rain of up to 150 millimeters will fall in Chungcheong-namdo province by Friday, and more than 120 in Chungcheong-bukdo and Jeollabukdo provinces. More than 100 millimeters is expected in southern Gyeonggi-do province. Please be prepared. Tomorrow, Seoul will start off at 22, Daejeon, Gwangju, Daegu, and Busan 23 degrees. Highs will be topping out at 28 in Seoul and Chuncheon, Gyeongju 34 degrees. Many rainy days will be seen this weekend and next week. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
The National Assembly began its interpellation of the Yoon administration's policies on Tuesday, only to be adjourned and eventually fail to resume. The short-lived Q&A session could not fulfill its original purpose of asking thorough questions about the government's policies. Instead, it degenerated into a shouting match with an opposition party lawmaker saying ruling party lawmakers were out of their minds, prompting strong protests. Now, with ruling PPP's filibuster going on in response to the Democratic Party's plan to pass a contentious bill, no one can be sure when the interpellation would restart. Some would say politics would be no fun without such mudslinging.
But what we need to note is that there are so many pending bills related to people's livelihoods that need more discussion. That is all for today. Thank you for watching.